Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chantele. And we are here to talk about Survivor South Africa episode 9.
Yes, we are. But first, if you are new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Super, super appreciate it. Hi, guys. Well, merge is over and done with. Here we are.
But I'm still in it. It's like nothing's petered out. Like everybody is really playing to win. And obviously, we're here for this.
Yeah, and I mean the question was, do they keep their numbers? Are they going to start mixing up? Like how are we going to move forward here? And well, let's get into it and talk about it. At the top of this episode 9, we do see sort of the fallout from this incredible first merge tribal with all the advantages and idols ever used. And they're kind of calling out who voted, who did what. Who is it?
And it was Amy, I think, that just automatically calls out Santini, and like Santini's getting offended. Like she didn't vote with them like they expected, but like she was kind of taken aback by Amy's just being so aggressive with her accusations.
Well, anytime you're like, oh, I know how you voted out in front of everybody, you're like, okay, slow your roll. Like, whoa. But then there's this discussion of like, don't hide behind your vote. Sean's very much in this because he isn't happy with the way that this all went down. And I did love that he got the moment to say, I knew that this was going to happen. Mm-hmm. I got good guesses.
He did. Yes, he does. Yes. And I'm just very surprised that he didn't push it a little bit harder, because it would have helped him a lot this week if he might have had taken control of that situation last episode.
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Anella. You just shot it down. I was right, and look where it got me. Like,
I think what's happening here is that Anella gives off the vibe that he's a lot older than he is. And so I think he's only 24, which is quite a young man. And Sean does have a little bit more life experience than that. And so I think that people are just kind of misconstruing like his actual life knowledge with the fact that he comes off as somebody older. And so that's really what got Sean, just got caught him, because like he just was like, oh, well, he would know pretty well. Like he has a good read on the situation, but Sean has a lot more life experience.
Well, Sean had the accurate read, so doesn't help anybody when it didn't go your way. And here you are. Nicole is crying. She's still upset. She used the idol wrong. Her friend walked away.
It never feels good to... especially to beg them to use it on me, use it on me, use it on me. And then like your friend still goes home. So you misplayed and your ally goes home. Like that must feel bad. She got a jacket though.
She did. Thank you for the jacket. And then we got new titles, and I thought they were hot. I love them. I got excited. They had the little jury moment. Oh, I loved them.
I thought it was like, I'm like, did I never notice this before? Because I was like, the music's all like, dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, oh, everything looks so hot. And I'm like, I'm in it. Like, I was like, it's so good.
I was like, ooh, there's a shot, because it was just the immunity challenge they had just done with the poll. And I was like, oh my God, look at them all intensely holding onto this poll. And then, then they separated it with jury. And I was like, oh my, yes, thank you.
So good. I was confused, because like I would have noticed this before, but now you're making me realize that it was brand new, probably because of brand new. That they changed it up.
Right. Yes. Well, I don't know if everyone gets excited about titles, but I sure did. I was like, if I were one of these people, I would just play this every day when I got up.
It was super epic.
The music, yes. And then they're all like dramatic. I was like, motivation every day.
And also, I felt that everybody was like really sexy and like good looking and really powerful and like
smoldering.
I was in it. I was with you. I was in it, and I was like, I was taking on that ride. I'm like, ooh, you guys are
yes. Hi guys. Okay, so back to the game. Santini and Anesu are sort of touching base here. And, Santini's a little like, well, I got to be the fall guy, huh? While Anesu, you get to like hide your vote, you keep your cover.
We were like speculating as to whether or not that was planned or not. So I guess we're learning that it was not planned. But I wish that Anesu had maybe spoken to Santini about it, because Santini does not like being left out of the plan. She does not like looking like the fall guy. She does not like she just doesn't like any of that. And so I would think that with Anesu being so perceptive, that she would have recognized that, oh, I better keep Santini in the loop here as to what's going on, or like maybe she's the person, I'll be the fault, whatever it is,
right?
Because you know that she's going to spiral.
I thought, I was under the impression they did talk this out, but that just because Santini got called out in the group setting, that kind of set her on a path of like, oh, well, look, great. You were the one who got to keep your cover. I'm the one who gets called out. Unfortunately, whether it was discussed or not, that is the consequence here at the end. But then Santini does take the opportunity in her next conversation that we see with Nicole, where she just clearly is like, no, and Anesu was in on the vote. Yeah, no, she's lying.
Which I think it's fine for her to share this information. Like, I understand that she might want to maybe just show that Anesu's not as, reliable as possible, whatever. Like, I get her motives, but I wish that she used it in a way that was more beneficial to her. Because if I were Nicole and I see like, oh, like we already have, there's a crack with Santini and nobody really trusts her anyways, I would go immediately to Anesu and say like, this is what Santini's saying about you. And she could have easily spun it around and made her the target. So I thought it was very dangerous that she was taking this opportunity to blab here.
Yes. Well, it's kind of a theme with Santini. She just speaks and then later is like, maybe I should not have said that. So who knows her feelings at this point, but it does seem to be a thing that Santini does. Now, Sean is a bit of an eavesdropper right here at this point. He's listening in, but what he's telling us is that he's plotting his revenge.
And I mean, I love a good revenge story. And I really wanted to see how he was going to use this information to his advantage. And so I was here for it. This is exactly why you don't say these things in like with other people around, that can be used against you and have you become the target. So I was waiting to see it.
For sure. All right. A reward challenge. Well, this one was tricky. They're going to carry a ball that has to be like balanced. I feel like it was almost similar to our first Big Brother comp this season, where they had to all sort of hold on to a rope there to carry this ball through basically an obstacle course, and then shoot the ball at the end there to knock down some boards, playing with 2 teams of 5. One person is going to sit out and they're going to get a pizza party.
Well, if they choose the right win, like the winning team, they're going to bet on the winning team. If they choose the winning team, that they get to participate in the reward with them. And so, surprisingly, Santini draws the white rock, and she is going to be on the outside, and she gets to bet here. So I bet, I was like saying like, oh, I think it's going to be the green team. I thought that was the green team that was going to win it 100%. I was surprised that Santini said the orange team. I was wrong. I
agree. I said green team as well. My watch party together, most of them said green. I think only one person said orange. So I was surprised Santini said orange, but I kind of just thought, oh, maybe she's just saying that because Chappies is there.
And she doesn't want to be on this team with Anesu, and I think Nicole was on the other one as well. So maybe she didn't want to be with them.
Right. So she was just picking the people she'd want to have pizza with. But turns out she is right and we are wrong.
I was so surprised, especially in the beginning too, that like they had a good lead. Orange team had to go back a couple of times and like they were really they're really ahead of the game. And then when it came to, they had to get the ball on this, like, I don't know, slide thing, and then they fell there and they kept on not being able to get the ball in the slide thing, and so then orange was able to overtake, and then they were never able to catch up.
Right, because at first they looked like they were balancing that ball really well. Thought they had it.
I was like, yeah, God, I could predict. I was so proud of myself, and then I was like,
Nope. No, you're absolutely wrong. Jacqueline, this is a good question. Is Santini a Sagittarius? Open mouth, insert foot. I feel you on this. This is something we do. But I was just wondering, and I don't know the answer. Chantele, I don't know. Do you know her sun sign?
I do not know her sign.
I actually was not thinking Sagittarius. I was thinking something more along the line of like a Gemini who is very chatty but maybe it's a Gemini Sagittarius mix or something like.
Well, if you like Gemini and Sagittarius are opposites, so you're going to find the qualities kind of in each of them. So it makes sense as well.
Well, we're going to track down her chart and we're going to find that out.
Yes,
because she does open foot, or nope, not the foot. She opens mouth, inserts foot. All right, so we're at our pizza party. Santini is now getting to join Rainier, Warda, Chappies, Amy, and Tyson here. And again, Santini is going to say something she regrets later by just, hey, everybody, we're at a reward thing. Let's just look for the clue together. You want to just do it together? Should we just do it together? Let's just do it together.
And it's just very funny that she said this out loud because she was giving, was it Chappie's last episode? Yeah, that was like when they were at the merge feast and he's going around and he's being very obvious. And she's like, you're so obvious. And she was like kind of making fun of him for not being subtle. Yeah. And like, she's like blatantly telling people like, hey, there's probably a reward here, like, or like a clue at least to something. Let's go look for it. You're just like,
yeah, well, guess what? We're all going to look for it, and Rainier is going to find it. It's
I knew he was gonna
right
find
next to you, by the way, Santini.
Wouldn't you be underneath the table, like, kind of like, you know,
yes.
like I would totally be reaching everywhere on the table, and she would have probably found it.
Do this. You're eyeing everything on the table. Then if you haven't found it, okay, I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. I'd much rather it had never been found. Like the merge one. The merge one was never found. Wouldn't you rather that than everyone know that it's there?
I think though, okay, if I'm going to give her some props on putting it out in the open, at least they will know if somebody finds it. And so it's better to at least know where it might be or where it is, as opposed to like not knowing if someone has it. It could be something that used against you later on that you just aren't prepared for. So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt there.
Well, yeah, that is the upside here. So because Rainier does find it, and I was like, oh my God, is he going to slyly try to get it in his pocket or something? But no, he's tugging. So like he can't get it out. So he's got to be like, I've got something here, guys. And then can we all read it aloud? Sure. I mean, he can't say no to that. So now we're reading it aloud. It's a clue for the next person to go to Immunity Island or anyone at Immunity Island. And people on both sides here are getting this information.
And Rainier thought it would be a great plan to be like, well, like, you know, since I found it, I should be the one that goes over to Immunity Island and find it. Because that's where it kind of said in the clue is going to be over at Immunity Island. And
look, I would have done the same thing, Rainier. I would have tried it. You got to at least try it.
I would probably, if I tried it would be in a very jokey, jovial manner. I'd be like, hey, maybe I should get it. Like, I wouldn't be serious about it because I think the seriousness might rub people the wrong way. It's like, oh, you're only thinking about yourself. Like, I don't know. So
look, he found it. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Is that a thing? I found it. Is it okay if I go to Immunity Island? I don't know. It would have been great if they were like, yeah.
But there's no way that would actually happen because it also is determined on who wins the immunity. So be like, well, we made a promise. We said that Rainier can go no matter what. Like that's kind of doesn't really even make any sense. So
no, I guess you could negotiate like, okay, sure. If any of us here at this table win, then we'll send you. And then you'd have to like work behind the scenes to make sure someone else won immunity and didn't send. But anyway, they just said, no, you're fine.
It's like, how about like, you know, we'll
just leave it up to fate. We'll just see how it goes down. And well, that doesn't work out for Rainier. Back at camp, we do see Chappies and Tyson telling Kieran about this. So we do know that Kieran is looped in, which is important as we get to immunity. Now we have a conversation with Anesu and Tyson. Anesu is feeling like she might be a little left out. Tyson doesn't give her warm and fuzzy feelings.
At all.
But like, does he with anyone?
True. But like, he's just like, just always just like not looking, not making eye contact. I know they're supposed to like not look like they're gaming, so they're like, playing with trees and leaves. But like, it's somebody that's like in your alliance. She's kind of been acting double duty with the other side to bring in some information. She's been doing all that she can to protect you. Why is she giving her the cold shoulder when he needs her number? He needs her number, and will never want her to be going to the other side. So I just thought it was very surprising that he wasn't recognizing that he should try to make sure that she's in the fold still.
I agree, except that I was like, I don't think Tyson works that way. I don't see him doing that with anybody. I think Tyson is like, hey, here are some ideas that I have, and then you just go along with them or not, Like, I feel like Santini comes to Tyson with information, and it was very smart for Anesu to try to, she just voted against him, basically. So she needs to sort of consider proving her loyalty, which is kind of how she's phrasing it right now, and just be like, are we okay, Tyson? And he's like, sure, why not? I'm going to cut you later. Don't worry about it, but I'll take your number now. What I was reading.
From what I was reading from her side, she's thinking like, okay, I'm not in his top 2, top 3, top 4. So she's going to, even if she doesn't not going to do it right away, she doesn't plan on going that far with him anymore in my head. I think that's what that would stabilize or state to me. So
agreed. I mean, I feel like that's Tyson, Kieran, and Warda have become a power trio, and they do not foster their numbers or the relationships with their numbers. They're using their numbers, and that absolutely is going to backfire on them probably in the next couple episodes.
Yeah, next episode, like, I think that either Santini or Anesu are going to make a power play. Because they're going to want to get some control. They're probably going to use Amy, because Amy and Anesu seem to be having a little bit of like, we're the leaders of our sides type conversations. And so I can see them maybe coming together and finding a common threat.
Yeah, I agree. Sean, Amy, Nicole touching base here. They're talking about how Anesu is not really with them. She did not vote that way. She voted that way just to cover her bases, not really with them. But Amy is talking about like still utilizing them. Still, let's give Santini incorrect info. Like, because Sean is like, Santini's got to go. There's my revenge plan. Santini's got to go. And Amy's like,
why is he so upset with Santini? Am I forgetting what happened? What happened there? Like, I just don't understand why he had this big fences that he needs to mend and go and have an apology tour with her. I just don't remember what exactly happened.
Well, yeah, if there was a one moment, I don't know what the one moment would be, but I do feel like Santini has not been working with him for a while.
Yeah, I guess like disloyal. She was never on Zamba, like original Zamba. I didn't know there was such bad blood here. I was like,
they were on a tribe together and they were not working together. And now she's very much a part of this going against Sean. Why it's completely focused on Santini, I might be missing what that one is for Santini, but I think a lot of people are having those feelings that Santini is, a bit messy.
A bit.
And maybe they don't want to work with her that much. Is kind of the vibe.
I'm really enjoying Santini, and I want her to do well. And she's like, I'm so nervous for her because like she's just dodging landmines all over the place. Like, I'm worried, but I don't know if I can play with her. I don't know if I can personally play with her, because I'd be like, yeah, don't trust her. Don't trust what she's going to do. Don't trust what information she puts in her head. None of that. I'm sorry, Santini. I probably would be, orchestrating your demise. So
absolutely. She's giving out information left and right. She is a dangerous person in the game. The fact that they keep trusting her on like Tyson's side, that is going to backfire at some point.
Well, she's twice now. She has proven her loyalty. That means the third time, she probably won't. It's like she's building up a pattern that she's going to break the pattern. she's good.
Warren is reminding us that Sean was part of calling Santini out for the Marisha vote. Yeah, he was definitely part of like Santini voted against us to get Marisha out.
Well, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, more in depth as well. But Santini was really like not enjoying Sean anymore, wanting Sean out as well. So there must have been something that happened, maybe a specific incident that maybe they didn't show us, or it was bigger
that we've just forgotten about.
They're completely forgotten about.
Yeah,
Sean,
we probably talked about it and then we forgot about it. Well, Sean is going to start a little tour of planting seeds. And these seeds are not completely accurate, but they make sense. I approve of this plan on Sean's part. If they're going to work against each other, he's really trying to dig that hole for Santini. They already know she's a double agent, sharing information, but he's just sort of adding on. Oh, yeah, she told us about the Marisha vote. Yeah. Getting Tyson and Kieran a little more worried, probably.
Definitely the right play, but I'm wondering if he should have maybe seen if there was another person that they could have made a common enemy, because it didn't seem like they were going for the Santini thing. They already know the enemy in Santini. They already know that she could be a bit of a flip-flopper, and they also know that if you're pitching me this plan, it's probably going to benefit you. So I probably won't do it just because of that. Well,
I think they can't do it yet, right? They are too close.
Yeah, they need the numbers still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it makes sense. Santini is in this like bad spot. I don't know a better way to put it, but like Kieran and Tyson don't truly trust her. Like just push them over that edge, like give them a little bit more information and see if they'll turn on her. But that's just not the way Tyson and Kieran play, right? They're just going to be like, yeah, we know, but we need our numbers. Steadfastly
did not bite at all.
No.
It's like
they're like, yeah, she's a wild card, that one. Yep, she is. Amy, who's the one who is really making some sense here, she goes to Santini and kind of appeals to like, hey, we were working together. And like, I'm kind of mad at you. You're heading more over on this other side where they don't care about you. They're going to take you out. Why are you doing this kind of vibe? And I think it kind of worked on Santini.
Yeah, like just kind of appealing to the emotional side of her, because Santini is a little bit emotional. She doesn't like people using, like she gets emotional about how she's being treated by people, and that kind of it sets her into action. So I thought that it was an interesting tactic for Amy to try to kind of push her in that direction. I was just worried though that it might set her off and make her pissed off at Amy. I was like, she's just you have to be very careful with how you handle Santini. But I like the attempt.
Yeah, and I mean, Santini's going to agree along and say like, yeah, I'm basically made a deal with the devil. Like, I know that they don't love me, trust me completely. I know that. But I'm kind of in a spot, and she's right. Like, she's in a spot of being on the bottom of both sides. So in her head, I'm going on the side, whichever side it is, that's going to save me in that moment.
I mean, I think personally sticking with old Vuna makes most sense. Even if she's on the bottom of old Vuna, because there's a chance that she can move up in that little hierarchy. If she's the only old Vuna with a bunch of Zamba, they're gonna get her out pretty easily, and she won't be able to like talk to Anesu and be like, hey, maybe we should take out these guys because like we're not gonna be able to get to the end with them there. She won't be able to have any of leverage like that. So it's not quick for her to come to your side, Amy. But I'm appreciative of her doing everything she can to see if she can get that number.
Yeah, absolutely. The immunity challenge is so interesting.
It was hard.
So hard. I didn't get through any of the rounds.
I started in the first one and I was like, okay, mnemonics. Like
Yeah.
make a story. I'm like, okay, purple bear or like whatever. Like I was like making all these things up, but it was like I don't know if it was as fast as they were showing it to us.
Right.
So they might have been like slower, because if it was like maybe 2 seconds longer, I would have been able to memorize a lot more effectively. But just like they're just going like this, and I was like, okay, no, that's too. I can't even say the word before they're showing the next tile, so I couldn't do it. But
I wonder if he was that fast, or if he gave them more time in between. Because I was like, old pal, big. And then as soon as I hit the first like blue to black, I was like, oh no, what's my word for black that's different than blue? It's all B words. And I like failed, and he had already moved on. And I was like, oh man. Yeah. So the ones that did really well in this, super impressed.
I thought that Nessie was going to do well, because we already saw that she was pretty easily defeated that memory challenge at Immunity Island, because she's used these type of tactics for studying for med school. So I was just expecting her to win this one.
Yes.
It's funny that the last two that we were expecting her to win, and she was expecting probably to win both of them as well. Spoiler alert, guys. Anesu did not win it.
No, but she does come down to the end, like we would imagine. The very first round, Rainier and Chappies are out. Then Nicole is out in that first round. And I don't think that they were wanting to win it anyway. I think Rainier was hoping to go to Immunity Island, but don't know if he would have lasted longer. Not really sure. The second round,
I think it would have been good for if he won, though. So if Rainier won, he could send his closest ally at least to send Amy to Immunity Island and get some of that power. So I don't think he threw it. I don't think it would have made sense for him to throw it anyways.
No, I mean, you're on the side of not the numbers, so don't throw it anyway. Yeah. No. The second round, we lose Warda, Santony, and Sean and Amy out of this second round. And that leaves us for this third round with Anella as the only OG Zamba standing.
I'm still rooting for old Vuna. I know that they are in the power position right now, but I wanted Anella to be out. It could be because I know that there's still gamers over there, and they will try really hard to figure out a way. So maybe I'm craving drama of Zamba trying to get these numbers, but I was rooting for him to not win this immunity.
Oh, wow. I don't know. I'm not finding myself rooting really either way. I just think that's fascinating that Zamba's getting creamed in these comps, basically. OG Vuna's got whatever it is. And this is totally an opposite challenge from last week, super physical. This week, super mental. And to have basically the same people in the end.
Yeah.
Wow. Those are some dangerous players right there.
I mean, I would be worried for Kieran, for looking too much like a comp-based threat.
Yes.
And even Nesu. Hopefully she can kind of, because she's so petite, that she could maybe that was just going to my strengths here, but everything else I'm going to be terrible at.
Right.
So hopefully she can fade into the background, but both of them, I just be like, okay.
Did you see Anella cover his mouth every time? He'd put the color in, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Is he
I think he's nervous.
He's nervous. I was like, "Are you laughing?" And he just he was so nervous. But yeah, so he does not make it here this third round. Tyson goes out with him along with Anella at the same time here, giving us a showdown between our two, Kieran and Anesu, once again.
Deja vu.
Those two are threats, and to my surprise, Anesu misses the last color, and Kieran takes the win.
Any chance that she did that on purpose?
I can't.
To make him look like he's a little bit more. It's a little more flashier. He even got this one. Because they were staying in it, maybe both of them, until the round that whatchamacallit, Anella got out, and so maybe they're just like making sure that one of them won it, and maybe she let him win it because maybe he'll send her to Immunity Island, but chances are she's going to be safe with him having that immunity necklace, and he looks more like a threat than she does.
He does. I mean, I would be shocked when anyone throws immunity, but she could at this point because she knows she's going to be safe. And him winning back-to-back a physical and a mental challenge is like the biggest bullseye on his back, right?
So maybe she just wanted that to be a little bit bigger. Just be like, he's won both of them. Like, he can even beat me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he's here, none of us have a chance to winning individual immunity. So I think Kieran should be terrified.
Yeah, it would be. What are the odds that she knew all of them, and then the very last one, she just couldn't remember?
Pink, white. Oh, I don't remember. And she knew that she got it wrong. You could tell she knew that she got it wrong. I couldn't tell if she decided to get it wrong or she got it wrong and then realized that she made a mistake. But I kind of think that she wanted to paint the target on Kieran. I do.
I love it.
I know it's surprising to throw immunity, but she's in one of the safer positions that you can be in, in this game.
Yeah,
so
she is. She is pretty safe. I love it. It's delicious. So Kieran is going to choose who to send to Immunity Island, and he makes it very clear in his statement what the mandate is. Warda, come on back for dinner. We got a chicken. And she's like, got it, Captain. Off I go.
Pretty impressed with being able to have these, secret combo. I mean, it probably wasn't that secret, but I do like that they were able to communicate that way, and he has trust in her that she's going to do and know what to do over at Immunity Island.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what you were thinking, but my gut when Kieran won, I was like, oh, wow, is he going to send Tyson again and like really make their duo obvious? But then when he sent Warda, I realized, well, she has to bequeath it, right? She has to give it away. So if he had sent Tyson, Tyson doesn't get to wear it. But if he sends Warda, it goes on Tyson's neck and his buddy is safe.
Yes. I was definitely thinking like, for sure, Tyson's going to be bequeathed the idol from over there. And so he was planning for his friend to be safe. And I thought it was very, very, very smart for him to do that. And I don't even think Warda recognized that, like, oh, wait, I don't get to be safe here. Tyson gets to be safe in this situation.
No, I'm not sure how much Warda is like reading in between the lines. She is a loyal soldier. She's going to do what she needs to do for her team. And yeah, I'm not sure she's seeing the strategy past sort of her marching orders.
Agreed. Because she, we saw before the merge, she was just really like all about going for Anella and just how much she disliked him and wasn't really able to see a lot of the times the game part of it. And it's just like, hey, let's like reel that in. He sucks. You got to get him later. You can't get him now. Like, don't create more animosity. You'll be okay. But yeah, she kind of gets emotionally driven and doesn't really see the game portion of it at times.
Right. This conversation with Amy and Anasu is just more Amy doing what she needs to do here. She's telling Anasu, oh, there's a clue that they found at the reward for an idol over at Immunity Island. Anasu's like, oh, that's interesting information that none of my alliance members told me.
Terrible. That's terrible. Terrible. This is like, that is the moment, I think, that Anasu's like, okay, I know where I stand, because she already had that intel basically from Tyson's actions. Like, okay, so he's not fully being warm and cuddly and like letting me in on the plan, but he says everything's fine. So like, okay, everything's fine. Right. And then he hasn't told me everything that he knows about a situation. Like,
Right. Well, she also goes on to explain, like, yeah, I'm not in with them that tight. Like, they didn't give me this information. We're not that close anymore. But I have to show them loyalty right now. And I appreciated how clear she was with Amy of like, this vote, I will be voting with them, but not for long, not forever.
And she did also kind of allude that it wasn't going to be Amy they were going to be voting for. So she kind of let them know who the most likely intended person that they were going to be voting for. And I think that was also to show some solidarity with Amy, to show like, hey, we can work together on opposite sides. Let's get each other further. I feel like this was planning for the future, that they might come together to take out Kieran and Tyson.
Yes, and this is such good communication to like building that foundation. It's so good to see. Paul, thank you for the super chat. It is our pleasure to cover Survivor South Africa. Oh my gosh, we're loving it.
It's so fun.
Right? Yes. Speaking for both of us, I say we love it. So Amy, what else is she doing here? She goes back to her team, basically. It's everyone minus Sean at this point, telling Anela, this is what Anasu has said, this is what Santini has said, like they're not with those guys for the long haul, but they do need to sort of work their cover right now, giving them the heads up. We will not have their vote this week, but eventually they will go against that trio.
I do have another. I know the whole Santini's whole game and that she's kind of frustrating to play with, so I get that. But Amy was asking Anela to go make nice with Santini. So what happened there? Like, has she done more things that we just haven't seen? Because we know that she's frustrating, but why are they just so angry? I thought that Anela didn't like Warda. Like, I mean, Warda's not like part of the equation right now, but like, what does Santini do to Sean and Anela that's made them have to go and apologize? It seems like it's
right. What is it? Is it something like that really happened and apologies are necessary, or is it just we haven't worked together, we're not clicking, we're not having game conversations? Is it that? Yeah, I'm not sure, but Anela does. I mean, I like that Amy's telling him, look, repair this, make this relationship work. And Anela listens and does what he's supposed to do. I appreciate that.
It doesn't work unless you've been doing it the whole time. You can't be like,
real tough.
So the one time that I kind of need your vote or like some information here because we're like in a shitty situation. Let's be friends now. No, you gotta be nurturing that.
You're like, hey, you know how I'm on the bottom? I don't have the numbers. Can we be friends? Yeah, let's work together. It rarely works when you're coming from that angle, but I appreciate the effort, and maybe honestly, like we're saying, the building blocks might be coming together at this point, because it is, to your point about Santini being somewhat of an emotional player. The nicer you are to her, the more comfortable you make her feel, you can get her eventually on your side.
But she susses out when people are being phony. Like, she is like, oh yeah, it's the timings of that too great. No, I don't think, she just doesn't buy it. So we didn't see any confessionals really of her like that. But that's what I think that she was going on in the inside. Like, she's like, oh yeah, like for sure. And then in her real head, she's just like, yeah, the convenient timing there, Anela, that you want to be nice to me, convenient. So I don't think she got it. I didn't buy it. So.
Right. On Immunity Island, obviously, Warda does not play. And it's interesting because it was clearly in the clue, and it was clearly written here as well. If you got something else to look for, then you have to play. So saying, no, I'm not playing, I'm going back to vote, means you do not have time or the option to look for this idol that we know is there.
I thought that was a good add-on to the rules of this, because I was like, so she's going to get to just go over there, get an idol, and then come back and not have played the game. And so I was like, that's a pretty good gig for her. And maybe that's what they thought would happen. Maybe they didn't know what the stipulations were going to be with looking for the idol. So maybe that's also why they sent Warda over there, because maybe she was going to get an idol as well. And so the three of them would have idols.
Yeah, I don't know if it was in the clue that they found at the reward.
Okay.
That if you stay and play, you will have the option to look for this. So if they heard that, not sure, but that is not how it works. So she leaves with nothing but the necklace that she will have to give to her good buddy Tyson.
I love that we're bringing back the word bequeath. I remember it was so ridiculous when Jeff Probst started saying it for that one season, and I was like, okay, I'm never going to hear that word ever again, right? No.
I refused that season. I was like, I will never say this word. I will not say this word. And now I'm like, bequeath, whatever.
Bequeath.
Here we are.
Since it's ironic now, but then I actually did refuse. I'm like, I'm not saying bequeath because Jeff Probst wants to have like new language in the lexicon of Survivor.
Yeah, he really wanted to make it happen, and guess what? He did, I guess, because here we are saying
Across
it.
The world.
Now, Kieran has a really good pitch here. He is explaining to his team, his crew, that Anella is the center point here. He is the person who connects the little groups. Sean, not so much. He's kind of a bit, he calls him a villain. He calls him volatile. Not really a worry to keep Sean in the game. And I think that's a solid point. I think that Anella is a bit of a center point. He did not listen to Sean, so maybe his reads are not great.
True.
But I thought this was an interesting pitch here from Kieran. And then over Santini and Anella, we're seeing the makeup. We're seeing the discussion here. Yeah. But she does say she will protect him and Amy.
And what's interesting is that she ends up proving this. Like, you know, like maybe it was indirectly, but she does go hard and say, no, we need to have Sean out of this game. I can't move forward with Sean in this game.
Yeah.
So she really doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on that notion. And Kieran was smart enough to be like, you know what? It's in our best interest to give Santini what she wants here because she doesn't want to look like she's not an active participant in this alliance. So let's give her the vote that she wants. So this could be an extremely good power play for Santini here.
I think there's a few very important, vital game things that happen here. Mm-hmm. But my first question with the Santini and Nella makeup, I feel like it might have worked a little bit here. I mean, I see your point that it's a little too late, but it was enough in this moment for her to at least feel a little comfortable with him. And he also shares a little bit of information, which I think was vital to how this vote went. She says, I want Sean out. And Anella says he feels the same way, giving her the information that Sean is saying Santini's name. Well, okay, he's definitely going to be the top of the list now, right?
Very true. Very true. And so I do feel, though, that, you know, Anella saying that, I think that was really, really important and really strong. And just like to rewind back a little bit, I think the reason why Kieran and crew were thinking that Anella was the centerpiece is because they kept on sending him to Immunity Island. They kept on saving him. So they probably think that he was valuable, and that's why they wanted to keep him around as opposed to like just having any other member of Original Zomba. So that's why I think that they see him as like the shining target here. And then I forgot my point that I was just about to say after that. So you keep talking, I'll remember in a second.
Well, yeah. Well, I want to, and then going to what you were talking about with the Kieran and Santini conversation, Kieran's doing his pitch for Anella, and Santini's like, no, I am voting out Sean. I cannot live with Sean. Sean has got to go. And Kieran wisely, I think this is the second very important thing that happened here, is that Kieran did not push his agenda. He recognized that Santini is the insecure player, not sure of where she stands in this group. Let's give her this, not push, and say, yes, you want Sean out? We'll go with that. So like, that's the second thing. She gets the information about Sean, and she gets value from the trio that she's not sure about.
So I think that what happened here is that that Santini, whether or not she fully bought what Anela was saying, I think
Yeah.
she's starting to build numbers, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
now she can vote out Sean and get some trust now with Anela and Amy, oh, maybe she's going to be in a better position next week, and she's not going to have Sean coming after her or anybody else coming after her, and they might be able to use those numbers to go against Kieran and Tyson. So I think that she used that opportunity of him trying to mend fences to her advantage in order to gain a little bit more power and maybe some trust with them a little bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. And she has the ability now to say to Anela, Kieran wanted you out, and I
saved you.
I changed the vote. I saved you. You know,
exactly.
That's great for her. Amy and Sean, they have a conversation. Sean is talking about wanting Warda out, and oh no, that doesn't make sense because Sean wants to vote Santini out. I guess Amy was the one who said, no, it needs to be Warda. Because, and she had a pretty good reasoning of like, if we write Santini's name down and she doesn't go, she is not coming over to work with us ever again.
Never.
And here we are trying to lure her in. So who does she want out? Warda. Warda, we know she doesn't like on her side. Let's see if we can scoop her up to get Warda out. This is a great plan.
It's a great plan. And I see all their logic, and I love that they're just trying. I love they're trying anything that they can do to see if they can get an advantage here. I think this is the first time Amy. Well, she had a little bit of adversity when she was one of the swap tribes, but she's really putting in the work here. And I wish that we didn't see any of Rainier putting in any of his thoughts or angling anything. It was pretty much about Amy getting people to do things. So I think Rainier wasn't really involved in saving everybody.
I know. I just picture Rainier over on the side going, how do I get that idol? How do I beat Tyson and Kieran? How do I do this? I just feel like he's like, what is happening and how do I get this done? Meanwhile, everyone else is like, okay, for this vote, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, I was just surprised that he didn't have any, influence and any conversations with his. I think Amy's still his number 2, so I just thought that maybe they would have planned something, or
right. She's probably running all of this with him, and he's coming up with half of this with her, and we're not seeing it in that. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But I do feel like what Amy suggested here, trying to get Santini to vote out Warda, is a great idea, and it might have worked. She got Anela to make up with it. We're about to see Sean try to make up with Santini. But if it weren't for those two things that had already happened, where Anela told her Sean is trying to vote her out, and Kieran let her get her Sean vote. If those things hadn't already happened, if Kieran was like, no, we got to get Anela, then this might have been, she would have flipped for Warda. I just thought it was so interesting how these pieces sort of came together. But so Sean is going to do his last ditch effort here. He's going to he hugs Santini, try to make up with her. Look, you want Warda out. She's like, I do. Let's do it. Let's do it. And she's like, I don't know. Might be a little too late.
See? He should have been making up with Santini he should have never really gotten into a bigger fight with her or whatever's happening between them.
Right. What exactly is happening? Why they don't like each other?
And this is the thing that I also find interesting with Anela allowing Sean to be the target. I know it could be as long as it's not me, anybody but me, that attitude could be coming in there as well. But he was on the bottom of original Zamba. Him and Kian, remember, they stayed in by the skin of their teeth. They were not necessarily going to make it very far unless if the swap didn't happen. So he probably just was never part of that group. Rainier and him and Amy and Nicole, they were all already a group, and he was definitely an outlier with that foursome.
Right.
I found it interesting that they were really still willing to just kick him out, throw him to the wolves. Here you go, Vuna, you can have this one as long as it's not me.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. When we get to tribal, there is a little talk about Kieran having a target on his back. And boy, yeah, Nico, you could say that again.
I know.
Yeah, thanks. Let's talk about it in front of everybody.
And then Kieran doubled down, and by repeating, like, oh, I know that winning this like makes it look like I have a big target. Like, I would just never have said those words ever again. I'd just be like, I mean, perception.
You're like, you think, Nico? And then, yeah, move on and be like, so, you know who's really a big, change the subject.
Absolutely.
But here we go. Once again, Warda basically has a fight to pick at tribal that doesn't have anything to do with this night's vote. Why is this her thing? To talk about tribe dynamics that have nothing to do with tonight's vote. And then you're talking negatively about someone who's in your voting block? What's happening? What?
Well, this is what I'm saying, that she doesn't. I guess she didn't get the marching orders to be like, hey, don't blow up our spot here by like outing people that are like on the fence with our alliance. Like, I don't know, maybe nobody told her that.
I was like, girl, you don't even know that your name could be written down right now. You are poking the bear with Santini right now. And all Santini has to do is write down your name. She's the one vote that will push it over the edge and you go home. And here Warda is just talking about flow of information and somebody making themselves look really bad. And I couldn't believe how close it was for her to leave or not.
I mean, maybe they didn't show us the entire tribal, so maybe they made it look like there was a potential that Santini was going to make that flip. Like, maybe that's why they presented it in that way. Because the other time where something was presented in a way where I thought Warda wasn't going to flip was the Dino vote, or was whatever. Like, I just didn't expect her to do what she ended up doing from how they edited it. So I'm just thinking that maybe it was just edited this way because, like, it just seems ridiculous that she would put herself in the firing line and with such confidence. I'm just like, what? Like, you're a tribal. You don't have immunity. 2 people from your side have immunity. You or another 2 people are going to get votes this round. Like,
right. Yeah, she feels comfortable for sure. I mean, we buy it because we've seen her do this is like the 3rd tribal. We've seen her just sort of go off on a tangent that really isn't necessary for that specific tribal, but it really did make me question, oh my gosh, is Santini going to flip? Like, is she just going to be in the moment mad and send Warda home? I mean, that would be entertaining. To be honest,
delicious. I mean, not that I don't want anybody to go, blah blah.
No,
blah,
I don't want anyone to go.
But like, I think the reason why Santini was not going to do that because she still needs the numbers of those people. She still needs Kieran in order to get out Kieran and Tyson. She needs them to think that she's with them, and so. The best way for her to do that is to be loyal with her voting until she's not. And so if she didn't already plan for her to be like, hey, like, get some assurance from the other side, like, I'm going to flip, I'm going to go with you for Warda. Like, she didn't get anything in return for that. I just don't think that I think she's smart enough to know that she can't just like make a rash decision and I'm voting out Warda and this like right now without realizing that she should have maybe secured something if she was going to make that move. So,
and that is so vital to your game. Yes, she has put her foot in her mouth quite a bit, but being able to stop yourself from doing anything rash, voting on revenge or personal vendettas, anything like that, and just keeping that big picture, knowing, she will probably, I just imagine the next episode, we're going to be like, my nemesis, Warda. Like,
it's her time.
Yeah. And she'll be like, this vote. We might see that. But for the moment, she does not.
She'll go for the big one. She'll go for Tyson or Kieran, I think. I know that she doesn't particularly like Warda, but I think that if she's going to flip, she's going to flip and take out probably Kieran because right now he's the immunity, individual immunity threat. That's what I think would happen.
The one time Kieran doesn't win, they better have a backup plan because he's gone. Like, no one should keep him. That just doesn't make sense. Okay, so Ward is going to give her necklace to Tyson. Obviously, that's what she was told to do. She's going to do it. And then we see our votes, and they're going to go back and forth basically here because it only takes one vote here to tip the scales, and the last one goes to Sean. Sean, our sweet, sweet Sean, our fiery Sean.
He did well, though, because we didn't have high hopes from him when we were at episode 1. We're just like, oh boy, he's not in a good position. Yeah. So he's come a long way.
Yeah, look at that. He made it to jury. And I appreciated that he was able to see some things. He had a pretty good head for the game. I enjoyed his fiery tribals from time to time, but I also enjoyed that he knew he couldn't do it this time. He couldn't make a big scene like he's done previously. He couldn't sort of go off. He had to play this angle to get Santini to possibly vote his way. Still didn't work, but had he come in with his big tribal performances like he's done previously, it definitely wouldn't have worked.
And kind of like what I was saying at the beginning of the episode, or like our recap here, that I just wish that he had put more focus on the fact that, like, I really think that we need to look at this angle and make Nella see that, like, we should just, like, cover our bases here. Like, if we're wrong, this is good that it's fine that we're wrong. We're not going to lose any more than we'll lose now. But if we're right, we have so much to gain. And I wish that he really pushed his gut feeling and his instincts here, because he probably was really feeling in his gut that, hey, this is important for me. Like, I think that's probably what was, like, coming in and be like, I need to make this happen. And he just kind of pushed that aside and just went with the group. And I wish that he really didn't.
I agree, but it's just got to be so tough in that moment where you're like, what if they did this? And then someone you're aligned with is like, nah. And you're like, all right. And then you just, like, move on.
I'm such a person that overthinks everything that, like, I'd be like, but I would do that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't one person on the side do that, right?
That'd be the smart play. Why wouldn't they do that? Like, let's keep talking and thinking it through. Yeah. That's something you kick yourself about later where you're like, why didn't I push it more?
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be, I hope that he's not, because he does his confessional after. He's like, playing the greatest game on earth. And, like, he's really happy that he got to participate. So I love his attitude around being a survivor castaway. But I just don't want him to have, like, oh, I wish I did, or
I know,
man, shoulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Like, I don't want him to have any of the regrets in that way, because he could have maybe won the game from that one, if he just
you can't.
Look at the timeline.
No, you can't jump to winning the game. Oh my gosh,
but he would be in the game to have that as a chance.
Yes. All right, don't jump to, like, if you had done this one thing, you'd have won the whole game.
Not 100%, but it is more possible than him being out.
Yes, right? Yes. Well, now he gets to sit on jury. We love to see our jury. We got to see Marisha sitting there in the rain watching Tribal. But next week, Chantele, there's a twist.
Well, yes, and I still don't know exactly what it is, so we should talk this through.
Please, let's talk it through. I even, like, tried to scour around to see if someone had revealed any information here. I think the clue letter, whatever, the mail that they were reading said something about destiny coming in twos.
Yeah. So,
and what happened today will happen to you.
Mm-hmm. So
to them, is that what you heard?
I think to them will happen to you. So basically, like, it seems like 2 people are going to go home, kind of thing. So 2 people will be voted out. People will be working in tandem. So as a unit, it seems like what it is. And so maybe, like, the team that wins individual immunity, they'll both be, wear the necklace. The team that goes to Immunity Island, they both will go over there. And then maybe the team that you vote out of the game will be both gone. So that's what it seemed like to me, that they're just going to be doing this entire episode with a partner.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's awful. I mean,
it can be, depends on who you get.
Well, yeah. And you're like, well, I wasn't going to be voted out. I was sitting pretty. And then my teammate here,
well,
they had to get rid of.
Luna is with, like, somebody from Zamba, like, That could be
Ooh.
like, who's the big, so whoever's partnered with Anella, I'd be like, oh, I don't really want to be with you, but unless we win.
No. Right.
I wouldn't
Oh
want to
my
be
goodness.
like, wouldn't want to have Tyson and Kieran together if they don't win. Brutal. They're done for sure. Like, everyone would come for them and get those both out.
Right. I mean, it'd be great for them to work together. They'd probably win it all, but it'd be easy to knock the two of them out. But yeah, if you've got, I mean, I can't even imagine the mix if that's how it goes. Hopefully.
How do they pick though? That's what I want to know. Is it all random? Like,
yeah, random rocks or something. I mean, gosh, I that makes me super, super nervous. I don't hate two people leaving, but it being some sort of pair makes it really complicated.
Yeah, I hope it's fair. I hope it's like, because like
no such thing as fair.
I know it didn't really happen in this this season from any of the swaps, but the swap screwed really, it really gets to me. Like, I've played a live version before and I got swap screwed, and I was the only person that was not on my tribe anymore. And I was like, well, oh God, what do I got to do here? I made it through one. I did make it through one. But like, it was hard. So I wouldn't want someone to be paired screwed here, just because of new twists in the game, and they set up the version of Survivor that they understand. They set themselves up really well, and then they get screwed by a twist. So a little bit worried. But
yeah, it's rough when it sort of takes out your game, basically. I like a shakeup, but yeah, it's hard when it basically ruins your game, and you're like, what just happened? Well, okay. Well, that's next week.
I'm excited though to see what is actually planned. I want to see who the pairs are. Right. I want to see the pairs strategizing, because whenever you have a new pair, it's an opportunity for you to gain a new ally, a new maybe final two. Like, you start working together more closely with this person. So I'm interested to see how that could change up the game as well. I'm having somebody that you're really closely aligned with now, that maybe you would never have talked to before. So,
right. Yeah. Could help. Could help. You guys, thank you so much for joining us live. We love to hear your insight. We appreciate it. And if you are joining us later, please leave us a comment. Let us know how you feel about these voting blocks, I'll call them, these OG sides, our middle ground people, losing for Sean. Where is Santini? Where is Santini and where is Inacio? What's happening? Sad to lose Sean, but it's going to be sad to lose all of these players. That's for sure.
It's starting to get really tight right now, because I'm just like, oh boy, everybody's really like, I don't want to see anybody go. But if at least we know anybody that goes out pretty much from this point forward is been playing a pretty excellent game, because everybody's gaming hard right now. So that's something. Yeah.
This is a stacked jury. This is going to be a really, really cool jury, I would think.
Their questions are they going to be like fiery and like emotional, or are they going to be like super
game? Oh my gosh, Sean's going to get so fiery with his questions. Yes. Marisha's probably very mad about the way she went out. I'm already excited about it.
She's probably fuming, but
yeah.
Sorry, you got outplayed, literally.
Yeah, literally. You did. Sorry. All right, you guys, we will be back next week with whatever this twist is on episode 10. We'll see you then. Bye.